Continuation of the previous video, engine trouble. Making myself bankrupt. Yes, he was not having anything. Okay, because he have to pay the rent for 4 rupees, and then he have to pay for this road engine also, which is not gaining him any profit. So he was making himself bankrupt. So maintaining this engine in the Gymkhana grounds. I really hoped someday there would come my way a lump sum and make amendments for all this deficit and suffering, for all this shortage and suffering. He had a hope that someday someone will come and buy this road engine so that I will be free from this. Fresh complications arose when a cattle show came in the offing. It was to be held on the grounds. So what happened? There was again a complication which came. What happened? It was a cattle show which was going to be held on that ground, and it was to be held on the ground itself. So I was given only 24 hours for getting the thing out of the ground. So what happened? They have sent him the order that we don't want your 10 rupees, but just take out your road engine, because there is a new show which is going to come. So what happened? It was a fine sight. The temple elephant yoked. It was tied to the engine by means of stout ropes, with 50 determined men pushing it from behind, and my friend Joseph sitting in the driving seat. A huge crowd stood around and watched it in glee. Yes, they were watching it. The engine began to move. It seemed to me the greatest movement in my life. When it came out of the Gymkhana and reached the road, it began to behave in a strange manner. What began to behave in a strange manner? The road engine. Instead of going straight down the road, it showed a tendency to wobble and move zigzag. The elephant dragged it one way. Joseph turned the wheel for all he was worth without any idea of where he was going, and 50 men behind it clung to it in a very possible manner and pushed it just where they liked. So everyone were doing different jobs. Elephant was moving the road engine in one way. Joseph was trying to make it proper, but he couldn't do it. 50 men was pushing the road engine to other way, and the road engine was also not behaving properly. As a result of all this confused dragging, the engine ran straight into the opposite compound wall and reduced a good length of it to powder. So what happened? The engine went straight and it got just dashed into a compound wall, and it turned into powder. At this, the crowd let out a joyous hell. They were shouting, and then they were enjoying this actually. The elephant, disliking the behavior of the crowd, trumpeted loudly, strained and snapped its rope and kicked down a further length of the wall. The 50 men felt in panic. The crowd created a pandemonium. It created total confusion. Someone slapped me in the face. So someone slapped the speaker on his face. And who is that? He is the owner of the compound wall. The police came on scene and marched me off to the jail. Marched me off is like the police marched him off to the jail. Next, when I was released from the lockup, I found the following consequences awaiting me. There were many bad things which were waiting for the speaker. What was it? First, several yards of compound wall to be built by me. Okay, that was not possible at all. How can he just give money to build a compound wall? Okay, next, wages of 50 men who ran away. They would not explain how they were entitled to. deserving of something. Entitled to is like deserving of something, the wages when they had not done their job. Yes, he is correct. The way the 50 men, they didn't do anything. So how can they just come and ask me for money? So he has to pay the wages also. Joseph fee for steering the engine over the wall. So he has to pay for Joseph for what? For steering the engine over the wall. Next, cost of medicine for treating the knee of the temple elephant which had received some injuries while kicking down the wall. Here again the temple authorities would not listen when I pointed out that I didn't engage an elephant to break a wall. No one will listen this. The temple authorities will not listen. They will only ask money, or they want their elephant to be normal again. Okay. Last but not least, the demand to move the engine out of its present station. So there are many bad things which were waiting for the speaker after he released from the jail. Yes. Next, I really could not find any means of paying these bills. When I went home, my wife asked, "What is there I hear about you everywhere?" I took the opportunity to explain my difficulties. She took it as a hint that I was again asking for her jewels, and she lost her temper and cried that she could write a letter of her father to come and take her away. So what happened? I really could not find any means of paying these bills. He don't know what to do with these bills. When the speaker went and said all these things to his wife, the wife asked, like, what is this? I hear about you everywhere. So he just took the opportunity to explain everything, what all he went through. And she was scared that he's going to ask for her jewels, and she lost her temper, and she cried that she would write it to her father, that is, she would write a letter to her father to come and take her away. I was at my wits' end, at a loss as to what to do next. Okay? People smiled at me when they met me in the streets. So people smiled at him sarcastically, the speaker, when they met him in the streets. I was seriously wondering why I should not run away to my village. I decided to encourage my wife to write to her father and arrange her for her exit, and not a soul was going to know what my plans were. No one knows what was the plan which was made by the speaker. I was going to put off my creditors, that is, he is not going to pay for his creditors because he doesn't have any money. He is going to run off from the village and disappear one fine night. I made my preparations to leave the town in a couple of days, leaving the engine to its fate with all its commitments. However, nature came to my rescue. Nature saved him in an unexpected manner. You may have heard of the earthquake of that year, which destroyed whole towns in northern India. Okay, there was a reverberation, like echoing sound. Reverberation means echoing sound of it in our town too. We were thrown out of our beds that night, and doors and windows rattled. So it was a very big earthquake. Okay. This morning I went over to take a last look at my engine before leaving the town. I could hardly believe my eyes. The engine was not there. I looked about and raised a hue and cry. He was like, he don't know what to do. He didn't see the engine there. And search parties went round. All other were searching, and the engine was found in a disused well nearby with its back up. So it was turned upside down. Okay, because of the earthquake. I prayed to heaven to save me from a fresh complications. So somehow he was praying to the heaven, he was praying to God to save him from the fresh complications because of this road engine. But when the owner of the house came round and saw what happened, he laughed heartily and beamed at me. You have done me a service. So he just laughed. The owner laughed at the speaker, and he just said that he laughed it heartily, and he said that you have done me a service. It was the dirtiest water in that well, and the municipality was sending notice to close it week after week. So I was dreading the cost of losing, but your engine fits it like a crock, an object used as a stopper or for a bottle. Okay, just leave it there. So what happened? The owner of the house, he just came out, he laughed heartily, and he just said to the speaker that you have done me a service. And it was the dirty water in that well where the municipality people were sending notice to close it week after week. So I was dreading the cost of closing. I was not able to close the well because I didn't have that much money with me, but your engine fits it like a crock. Okay, an object used as a stopper for a bottle, just leave it there. So what happened next? The speaker was hesitating for this. He was saying that but there are no buts. I will withdraw all complaints and charges against you, said the owner, and build that broken wall myself, but only leave the thing there. So this was a good thing for the speaker. So the owner of the well, he said that the owner of the house, he said that there are no buts. I will withdraw all the complaints against you, and I will also build the wall by myself, but only thing is leave the road engine there. That is hardly enough. I mentioned a few other expenses that this engine had bought on me. He agreed to pay for all that also. So he also agreed to pay for other expenses what all he mentioned. When I again passed that way some months later, I peeped over the wall. I found the mouth of the well neatly cemented up. I had a sigh of great relief. So this is the story of Engine Trouble, which is written by Rasipuram Krishnaswamy Narayanan in 1906 to 2001. Is best known for his stories set in the fictional town of Malgudi in South India. In a writing career of over 60 years, Narayanan received his first major award from Sahitya Academy in 1958 for his novel, The Guide, and was also honored with Padma Bhushan in 1964. The events in this story depict a perfect tragicomic, that is, tragedy and a comic story. A situation where the writer blends the tragic situation of the central character with a hint of comedy. Thank you.